Okay, so we're continuing. This is part 2, talking about narcissistic traits, narcissistic tendencies in males. Right? So be sure to watch part 1 before you watch this. So now I'm gonna talk about the narcissistic traits from coming from it in a when you're in a romantic relationship. So in the early stage, you will see these love bombing. You would see future faking. You would see them moving too fast. You would see they wanted admiration, wanted validation. You would see them pretending they're presenting themselves to be exceptionally special, and they want to show that they're superior. You know, when you see in early stages, when we're talking about narcissistic traits, is this they're giving this excessive attention to the woman, giving compliments, making all these grand promises with no intention of following through. And what I'm saying, as I was saying in the previous video, these are just general normal male behaviors that we see every day. Most men do this: love bombing, future faking, moving too fast, presenting themselves as special, exceptionally superior. And what I'm saying is that this saying that these are narcissistic traits, it's just a lack of introspection that is going on with men. Men do not look inwards and examine their thoughts, behaviors, and motives. Why are you gonna future fake? Why are you gonna make all these promises that you have no intention of following through it? Why are you moving things too fast? Why you don't have respect? Why are you showing all this excessive attention in the beginning and then you fall off? This is lack of introspection. They don't ask, you future fake, and then the woman asks okay, so what about all these promises you made? What about all these plans you said that we were going to do? And then they're acting like the woman is the problem. You are the problem. Why they don't ask? Why they don't introspect and reflect and ask themselves, how did I contribute to this problem? And I'm sure they keep seeing the same mistakes and issues coming up when they change partners. I'm sure they're not asking themselves, what issues keep repeating in my life? What issues keep coming up? Why are these same issues keep coming up in my romantic relationship? They're not asking what do I need to work on. No, they just shift the blame. Narcissistic tendency, shifting the blame. Place the responsibility on the other person. Making excuses and talking about different circumstances instead of actually looking at the problem for what it really is. Right? So narcissistic traits during a relationship looks like lack of empathy. Making the conversation revolve around them. Don't want to take responsibility for mistakes. Blaming you for problems. Feeling entitled to forgiveness, to special treatment, to understanding, to loyalty, to your body, expecting support, but giving back little or giving back none in return. Those narcissistic traits, to me, that sound like basic, normal male behaviors. Most men are controlling. Most men are possessive. Most men need constant praise, reassurance. Most men are gaslighted. Most men are defensive. When you criticize, bring up a problem, bring up a concern, bring up an issue, gonna be defensive, gonna refuse to apologize. These are narcissistic traits, giving silent treatment for punishment. These, to me, these sound like normal male behaviors. Instead of saying narcissistic traits and narcissistic tendencies, you could just say this is somebody who have an unevolved mindset. This is somebody who resists growing. This is somebody who avoid reflection. They don't look back in the past. This is somebody who avoid accountability. This is a character problem. But we want to say narcissistic traits. That's why they are blaming you instead of examining themselves. They want to stay comfort. They don't want to grow, right? They want to stay comfort. They want to prioritize their image. They care about how they look. They don't care about growing and being a better man. They care about how do I look. I want to I want to show that I'm in control here. I don't want to show that I'm weak. I don't want to show that I could make a mistake. And they keep repeating the same mistakes, having too much pride and having too much ego, instead of facing the truth about themselves and the problem. Right, this is just showing surface level thinking. You can't think beyond. You can't have an open mind. But we're saying narcissistic traits. This is weak mindset traits. This is intellectually rigid mindset, right? That is how we could look at it. When you say narcissistic tendencies, which is using, for example, I'm continuing with the examples, using someone to meet his own emotional needs. This is in a relationship, so he's using the woman to meet his own emotional needs. He expects the relationship to revolve around him, take more than they emotionally give. Uses guilt to get their way. This song's like uses guilt to get their way. Take more than they give emotionally. This song like normal male behavior we see every day. Show affection when it benefits them and withdraws it. Struggles with genuine reciprocity and partnership. This song like normal, basic, common male behavior. Craving attention, admiration, turning the issues around so you end up defending yourself. Fragile ego despite looking confident. Most men, they look confident. They focus on their appearance. And when you really get to know them, insecure, low self-esteem. Using manipulation tactics to get what they want, like love bombing, gaslighting, telling lies, spreading rumors. Those are narcissistic traits. I'm saying in this video, are those narcissistic traits are normal, common male behavior we see every day in romantic relationship. Isolating partners from friends and family and monitoring their behavior to maintain control, to maintain emotional and physical control, right? These are the narcissistic traits. Triangulation. How much time we hear about a man bringing in other people to create conflict, to create jealousy, to create competition, just for attention and acting up. Playing the victim when confronted. Rewriting the story to suit their narrative, minimizing your feelings and concerns, shifting the goalposts so you are always trying to prove yourself, wants the upper hand in decisions, subtly undermine your confidence. These are narcissistic traits. Or what are we hearing here? To me, I'm hearing normal male behavior, becoming uncomfortable when the attention shifts to their partner, competes with their partner instead of supporting. And I did a video on men competing with their partner secretly. They are men, a lot of them, they are jealous of their partner, they envy their partner, they're secretly competing with their partner. And we're calling this narcissistic traits, withholding affection, attention, and communication to remain in control. These are narcissistic tendencies, or they look like normal male behaviors we see every day. That sound like normal male behaviors. Shifting the blame, rewriting the story, minimizing your feelings, undermining your confidence, acting weird when people give you attention, competing with you, triangulation, playing the victim. These are normal. Most men behave like this in romantic relationship. So what I'm saying, instead of saying narcissistic traits, narcissistic tendencies, you just say, you know, most men lack inner growth. Yeah? They have not developed I keep talking about the same thing. They have not developed their character. Most men don't develop their character. They're not working on emotional intelligence. They're not working on wisdom. They don't have wisdom. They don't develop wisdom. Lack self-awareness. Most men remain stuck in their destructive patterns of behavior for years and years and years, and they expect a different result. You want to stay comfort. You want to stay stagnant, and you want to see something different. That don't make sense. Instead of saying narcissistic tendencies, we could just say, you know what? Most men are operating from a wounded masculinity, driven by insecurity, and they don't even know they're insecure within themselves. They lack self-awareness. That's why he always needs to prove himself through control. Always need to control you. Always seeking attention. There's this sense of they have low self-worth. That's the main thing. And if you're with someone who have narcissistic tendencies, narcissistic traits, you would feel, this is how being with somebody like this would feel. This is how you would feel if you're with somebody who have narcissistic traits. Emotional exhaustion. Like if you're wondering if you're with someone who have narcissistic traits, that they call it, you'll be emotionally exhausted. You'll be walking on eggshells, don't want to create conflict, you're scared about how he will react. Self-doubt, confusion within yourself, confusion in the relationship. You feel unseen, you feel unheard, very important. Growing resentment over time, losing focus on your needs and losing focus on your goals. And basically, how you should deal with this, this is normal male behavior. How you should deal with this is you need to learn these behaviors. That's why I'm doing this video. Learn the manipulative tactics and the abusive behavior, and you just need to avoid these men. So you need to set boundaries. Don't compliment them, don't criticize them. You just need to avoid them completely. That's the main thing. That's how to deal with male narcissists. Avoid them completely. And it could be so bad that your relationship with them could have been so bad that you might have to seek professional help to overcome the harm that they have caused. So basically what I was saying in both videos, part 1 and now part 2, is that I think at some point we need to ask ourselves, why are so many men having narcissistic traits? Why is it so common in almost all men? Almost all men have narcissistic traits. That's what I discovered. That's what I'm saying here. Should we really be calling them narcissistic traits, these behaviors? Narcissistic tendencies are normal male behaviors that have developed from an underdeveloped sense of self, right? That's another way you could look at it, right? Why self-centeredness and entitlement in men, and lack of empathy and fragile ego? Why is this so common? Why is this so common in men? Why many men see women as inferior? Why so many men see themselves as more important than a woman? Why men see women as objects to get what they want? These traits are traits, tendencies, whatever, they're so common. And then it's like they're so common, it's like they're becoming accepted. And people are saying today, well, that's just how men are. That's how men are. That is very sad. And I'm not saying in this video that every man is a narcissist. I'm not saying that narcissistic personality disorder is not a real mental illness. Yes, I just believe we are becoming too accustomed to these types of behaviors in men and calling them narcissistic traits when it's just most men lack inner growth. Most men they're not evolved. Unevolved mindset. Most men, they lack introspection, they're not reflecting, they're not going back and look at their mistakes and trying to be better. Most men, they are emotionally stunted. Most men, they are like have an arrested emotional development. Like, you are a boy, you had all this thing happen to you, and you have to be responsible for yourself to be better, and most of them, they're not better. And now we have these narcissistic traits, which to me just look like normal male behavior, right? These behaviors have become so widespread, and it's surprising to me that we call them narcissistic trait. And it is a professional word. Like, I won't use narcissistic and narcissism. I'm not a professional, I can't like diagnose somebody for that, but what I'm saying is just like these traits are just men operating from a wounded personality, right? So that's the end of this video. That's part 1 and part 2. You could tell me what you think about my perspective. You could leave a comment, like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.